Hello and welcome to the dungeon. My name is Dan and we've been playing Apex Legends. Now, everyone and their dog have been playing this game, so chances are you've already played it as well and have your own opinions on said game. But let's dive into what I think about this title. To begin, this is a hero-based free-for-all battle royale. Say free-for-all, it's actually more like a team-based free-for-all, and you have no choice. You have to be in a team with two other people. Made by the fine folks at Respawn, this game is what would happen if Overwatch had a baby with Fortnite and was brought up by Titanfall. Some might say this should have been Titanfall 3, and as much as I personally love Titanfall 2, I do have a soft spot for this game, which is odd considering this is my very first battle royale. Always something about PUBG that always put me off, and Fortnite seemed interesting, but I didn't like the whole building mechanic. This to me is my battle royale of choice. And just in case you might be the one or two people left on the planet who don't know what a battle royale game is, let me quickly explain. You and about 50 other people, actually I'm not too sure how many are in this game in one match. We'll say 50 for now. I'm sure I'm wrong, but it's a good even figure. You get drop shipped onto this island, and there's a bunch of huts and bases full of gear. Guns, grenades, health packs, all kinds of good stuff. And you and your team have to gear up and survive. That is the only objective. You only have one life, and I can really see the appeal of this type of game. There's a lot of anticipation of knowing where the enemy might be and what your chances of surviving are, knowing that you only have one life to live it. However, saying that, this game does give you a lifeline, so to speak, in the fact that if you get knocked down and killed, if one of your teammates is still alive, they can make it to your corpse. Well, barrel I should say. They turn to barrels when you die for some reason. They get your tag, and if they can make it to a respawn point, you have a chance of life again, but with no equipment. You'll have to find that all over again. The Overwatch aspect comes in the fact that there are 8 different characters available at the moment, and each one has their own abilities. My personal favourite is Bloodhound, the guy or girl, we're not quite sure. I think he might be gender neutral. He's the one with the crow on his arm. I like him the best because he can spot enemies through walls, which is always a nice little feature to have. One of my biggest complaints about this game is, where the fuck is his crow? You never see it in the game, it's always in these screens here. That would be so cool to have a crow. Maybe it could do an Assassin's Creed Origins type dealy, where it goes into the sky and you can see things from the crow's point of view. Now that would be cool. But no crow. My other favourite character would be Lifeline, just because she's a healer. And who doesn't like healing, particularly in a game like this? Also, she brings down care packages, which contains lots of nice goodies. And all the rest have their strengths and weaknesses too. One guy's good at making a shield over a small part of the land, another one is good for an artillery barrage, another one's good at making decoys of himself. Lots of nice little features, which makes each one of them very unique. It's a very diverse group of people, isn't it? Not just, racially, but apparently 25% are LGBTQ. I think that's all those letters, I might have missed one or two. Anyway, 25% are that. But this is a game all about shooting people, or stabbing them, or punching them. There's no storyline here at all. There might be one in the future, but who knows. So why does it matter about all these things? I'll tell you why it matters, because if the game company Respawn say that this person likes men and they are a man, then that's brownie points for the certain community. Now, I don't personally care about these sexualities of the characters. It just seems very obvious about what they're doing. It's a lot of virtue signaling here. Perhaps in the future, if we get TV shows or books or whatever showcasing these characters in a narrative, that would be something. But for the time being, we don't have anything like that. If someone chooses a character, it's all about their abilities, that is why, and maybe their cosmetics if they have certain cosmetics. So, back to the game in hand. Once you get dropped onto this island, time goes by and eventually it'll start to shrink. Not literally, that would be very cool, but just this orange barrier starts making the playing space shrink smaller and smaller, and you have to survive with more chances of running into the enemy. Stop me if you've heard this before. I know that a lot of people are very familiar with these types of games, but yeah, let me just explain how it is. One of the things I found very interesting about this, and very simple really, is the ping system. Rather than just using touch to talk or whatever with your teammates, just do mouse button ping on something of interest, as in an enemy, an item, a place you want to go to, and everyone knows that's where you're interested in going to. If you don't like talking to people because you're shy and that's why you play video games, or you can't understand the languages of your teammates,
شكرا العيني عم تسمع خاينين على الزلمة.
very handy way of bypassing all that. But when it comes down to it, when you get into a firefight and you need certain people elsewhere, then touch to talk or just an open mic is your best bet, just to try and coordinate your party as much as possible. I am certain that the best ranked teams in this game are those who are very good at coordinating their actions. I would say in this the gunplay is very sharp. You do need a good eye for aiming to knock down people to death. I know in a previous Titanfall game, a previous game of Titanfall, there's something called the smart pistol. Yeah, that's not in here. You need to aim and be able to be good at shooting to make it to the top ranks. And that brings me to one of the issues I find most of this game is early game. When you first drop onto the island, it's a mad struggle to try and find anything to arm yourself with. There have been games when I just couldn't find a single firearm. I found plenty of bullets, plenty of shells and whatnot, plenty of bandages, but if I don't find a gun, I'm at a bit of a loose end. If someone does find a gun and they're against me, well, who do you think will win? Actually, saying that, there has been times when I've landed, and you can use your mighty fists in this game, and some lady or man, I'm not too sure, had a gun, they were trying to shoot my teammates, and I did what any warm-blooded man would do, is get my fisticuffs out and beat the shit out of them with my bare knuckles. That was quite fun actually. Also, that person was the champion. So yeah, I literally punched the champion to death. Get the guns though as soon as possible. You can only hold 2, so definitely decide which ones you want to go for. You want to go for range, stopping power. Personally, I like an SMG with maybe a longer range rifle as a backup, because as the game gets smaller, there'll be a lot of more cramped places to lie in ambush and get shot. There are 4 ammo types in the game, which is quite useful actually, because there's probably around 10 or more guns, so a lot of the ammo works in various different firearms. For example, all shotgun shells fit for a shotgun, other ones require heavy rounds, some require smaller rounds, and then you have energy projectiles too. My word of advice is, stick to 2 different types of ammunition, don't bother with anything else because you'll want to free your inventory for other things that would be useful, such as grenades. If you get into a tight corner, you can always grenade the bastards. And battery packs to give you an extra layer of shielding. I like the fact that they are randomly dispersed. And another thing about when you first start the game is, where you are is also random. You're in a dropship and there's one person in the team who has the choice of starting the game for the whole team, and that person launches when they want to and they go where they want to. Now you can go freestyle should you wish to, and it looks very cool. Just check this out if you are unaware. also that music is quite tasty. With reference to the sound of the game, another interesting feature they've put in are the various audio cues that your characters will say. It's not just a case of them saying thank you if you give them stuff, or complimenting you if you get a kill, but Wraith in particular, if an enemy is targeting Wraith or one of the teammates, she will even give a warning to say we're being targeted, which is very nice and apt for her abilities. Whether a warning will make much difference considering how quick it is to aim and shoot is another story. But this also includes other things such as listening for doors opening, or what I've grown accustomed to is listening for the sound of footsteps in water, because if you see yourself and your team on land and you hear sloshy sounds, you know someone is near you and having a bit of a paddle. And another thing that you may notice after you put a few hours in is it is somewhat lacking in content. Don't get me wrong, the island itself is very large and I'm still finding places I've not found before, and I've put in maybe about 20 hours in already over the last few days, but after a while you start seeing the same huts and walkways and all sorts. Multiple maps would be a good idea and I'm sure they're working on it, but they launched it last week, so I guess it is a finished product. There will be seasons, I'm sure, so plenty more content to come, but this review is based on the game at launch, and I think they could have put some more stuff in. The gun section is good. I would prefer some bigger things like rocket launchers or miniguns. That might make you slower because this is a very fast game, a lot of running, no wall running, but a lot of jumping, and I do like that you don't get any damage from falling. You can literally fall from any height and you'll do a hero fall. It's great. But yes, bigger guns would be nice. A flamethrower, that'd be very cool. But also melee weapons. I know you get shurikens and you can fist people to death. I mean punch, that's what I mean. But crowbars would be cool. Maybe some more swords, a hammer, just something a bit more meatier. That would be good. Again, I'm sure they'll all come eventually, but just lacking a few other options. Also, what is up with the cock teasing about all the vehicles? I see tanks, I see various forms of cars, I see planes, none of which you can drive. And don't get me started on the lack of Titans as well. When I first heard this game would be a battle royale set in the Titanfall universe, my first thought would be, awesome, we get to be Titans. No, not awesome. You're just the regular people and robots of a Titanfall universe in some kind of televised blood sport. Don't get me wrong, it does work, but big giant robots, come on. Fortunately though, I think EA did confirm there will be some more Titanfall content coming out later this year, so that might actually involve Titans. And I am glad they've gone for a very rich colour palette. There will be the occasional corridors and dark cave-like areas, but most of it is quite open, quite sunny, with a lot of water effects, and just a nice atmosphere, which is odd considering all the death and murder happening. And a place you won't mind going on vacation to, if you don't mind all the corpses. There are some really interesting features across the island as well. If you look across at the ocean, you'll see these large, giant creatures of some kind. You can't interact with them at all, but it's cool to know they put some thought into the wildlife. Speaking of wildlife, where is all the giant lizards and other stuff they had in Titanfall 2? That seems like an odd choice, but I guess they don't want anything AI related. It's all about the PvP, isn't it? Also look out for these hot air balloons you see strapped down to the ground. By going up the line, you get a free boost to another part of the island, so definitely use them where necessary. Now, performance. This is perhaps my big bugbear. When I started playing this game, I heard all about how the launch itself was rather smooth and people were just able to play, and for the most part I have had that, but many times now it has just kicked me out of a game. It's so frustrating, particularly when I was playing with one of my friends and I was just gathering loot, not even shooting anything, just, you know, doing my thing, and then, boom, the game ends. It's happened multiple times where I come back to the loading screen and it just loads and nothing happens. Sometimes even Origin closes down. It's not often, but it has happened and I'm sure it'll happen in the future. I have seen some lag as well. Sometimes it just goes at a snail's pace. So Respawn, please fix that if you can. I suppose a lot of it is playing with people all across the planet. I've spoken to Americans, Russians, Germans, all kinds of people swearing at me in their native tongue. So I don't know. I guess it's just nature of internet gaming. An interesting quirk with the servers is that when people drop out, twice now I've actually started a team all by my lonesome, which was different and definitely not what the developers intended for the game. But you know what? I kind of liked it. I kind of liked being by myself and hiding away in houses. In the second time it happened, I even made it to the top 2 squads. I didn't kill anyone, I just hid for the entirety of the game until I had to venture out into the rest of the ring. I didn't last too long against the other team. They were really good, but I was a survivor. You know, second best isn't too bad. One big thing that I probably should have mentioned earlier in this review is that the game is completely free to play, so there's no real pay to win advantage here, although 2 characters are locked out and they both seem rather cool. I particularly like Mirage's, well, his demeanour to begin with, and the fact that he can create a decoy. That seems very interesting. I am about halfway there to unlocking a new character with their didgeridoo currency, so a few more games, well, days of playing games should get me him. And even Caustic, the fat bearded guy who likes the gas, he seems interesting as well. Not many people play him though, from what I've noticed, but I'll give him a go. Yes, it's a free to play, so a lot of it is going up in levels, which you can get XP from just surviving, so that's good. Also reviving and killing as you would do. Once you get XP, you go up levels. Those levels give you boxes to open and also give you some didgeridoo currency. I can't bother to get the correct name of it down, but you get the currency. You can buy boxes, I guess. You get resources that you can get skins, weapon skins, emotes, banners, all that kind of stuff. None of it has really caught my interest, so I'll just really keep playing until I can unlock the 2 other characters. I haven't spent anything yet, and I don't really intend to. But it is really annoying how I'm getting random skins for the characters that I haven't even unlocked yet. But there you go, that's the way they want to make money, I suppose. Just be aware of that. So yes, it's not pay to win, you can't buy abilities, but I think they could have given you some more currency, particularly if you play every day. Most games do give you something for logging in every day of this kind, so that is a missed opportunity. I'm just saying, lots of the games do it, Respawn, so you're kinda showing yourself up for not following suit. And if crafting is a thing, why not give us the option to actually recycle some of the skins that we don't want so we can get stuff that we do want? Just saying. But when it comes down to it, for me, it's not the loot that keeps me going and playing, it's the gameplay. It is a lot of fun, very tense, a lot of use of positioning and trying to get behind the enemy to get them in the rear. That sounded wrong, but you know what I mean. I never feel as well there's much in the way of cheap kills. I feel like every time I get knocked down, it's because I'm playing against someone just better than me. And I'm not a particularly good player as well. I've gotten a few kills here and there, but on the whole, I like to let my other teammates do the work and I'll mop up afterwards and do some revives if possible. But when I do get killed, I kind of see it's definitely a talented player doing the killing. And I do want to keep on playing more. I feel a little addicted so far. After recording, I will get back to it. And now it's time for my final score. I want to give Apex Legends the score of 3.5 robots with thumbs up. It's a fun game, great music for one track, and a lot of anticipation and tense firefights. It could do with some more content for sure. Vehicles, maps, melee weapons. It could do with some better servers as well, and quit kicking me out of it. And I would like some more ways to make the didgeridoo currency. But it is a fun game, and I'm sure I'm going to play a lot more of it this year. But as I said, I have no intention of putting any money in. I'm sure other people will, and to them, fair play. This is Apex Legends, available on Origin, on PC, PS4, Xbox, maybe Switch, but don't quote me on that. And maybe we'll even get cross-compatibility, but not just yet. Anyway, that's me, thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.